The HLPF is a very, very important political forum for Africa because it's where development is discussed.
This is part of the high-level political forum that takes place this July. It's the topmost level of analyzing and reviewing the Sustainable Development Agenda goals. We are actually here to talk about the two things, food or the money.
Right to food is actually a right that we should be enjoying in this country. But then we are talking about 300 million citizens in Africa, face food insecurity.
The African Parliamentarians Network is a group of elected parliamentarians across Africa that are willing and worried about the implications and impacts of the CAADP process and outcomes so far that has been illustrated by the biennial report.
Climate change is the biggest threat globally, and it's not something that maybe one country or a region can actually respond to. It's a global issue and must be kind of responded globally.
For climate finance, just something important to mention, we talk about a lot of grants-based financing for public goods, right? So it should be a grant for public good.
Because this financing from all IFIs actually undergoes the budget cycle. So the consultations happen right at the grassroots level. But sometimes, the public may not be knowing what this money is for, that there's a conditional grant of 80 million Kenya shillings. But, they need to get that information a lot, or that awareness that what does it mean.
Most of the women, it's really hard to get this kind of financing. One is because you ask for collaterals, and for this case, most of the collaterals would be probably your land. And remember, in the African context, most of the women don't own land. So where would you get the collateral?
At what level are African countries borrowing? And I think the African Union has an opportunity now. They are part of the G7. I think they can use their voice there to ensure that we are driving at the highest level possible of diplomacy to reform the financial institutions.
We look forward to now a more robust discussion in terms of moving or financing the agriculture beyond 3% to at least now to a target of 10%, and to ensure that Africa is food sufficient.
We need to creating spaces where various stakeholders, including women, small-scale farmers, government officials, and other stakeholders in the agricultural value chain, are able to speak and hear from each other. And then also carrying out research, analysis, tracking, and monitoring to inform, assess, and keep track of budgets and commitments. It would look like a collection of gender disaggregated data, identifying who is benefiting from various budget allocations as well, and then also, of course, holding governments responsible.
How do we create that safe space to make sure that those diverse group of people who need to be able to have these conversations around making sure that climate change and agriculture and women's rights all intersect well? I think it's for us now in positions like in Oxfam to make sure that we're learning from the grassroots organisations who have created those safe spaces to make sure that we're creating them as well and using that knowledge that exists to shape how we do things rather than to try to teach others how to do it.
I think our common goal should really be to support and to influence what happens at country level, because that's where really I think things need to change. As we want to get these things addressed, we make sure that those that are most affected are reading the struggle